today is Wednesday, January 25th, and I attended the DONA Birth Doula workshop about 2 weeks ago. I made another video on my little channel kind of talking about my reasoning for wanting to get into birth work, why I was interested in becoming a doula, what it meant to me, and a little bit about my process and where I was and what I had coming up. And the big thing that I had coming up when I made that last video was this workshop. So absolutely the first thing I would say is research, find the workshop that fits your needs, fits your personality, fits your budget, sign up and go. It was such an amazing, validating weekend, and I was so sad to see it go. But I just kind of wanted to spend this video kind of touching on some of the things that I got from it, some of the things that maybe you can expect from a DONA Birth Doula workshop, and then my next couple steps. The first thing that I noticed when I got there is how accepted I felt and how accepting everyone was. It was an amazing group of, I believe it was 9 girls all together, and we ranged from ages of 18 to, I think we had a woman who was in her late 40s and everywhere in between. So it was a really great space for women of all ages and all backgrounds to just come together and share their passion and share their knowledge and collaborate. So I think my biggest bit of advice would just be to go into that workshop as open as possible, because you are going to get out of it what you open yourself up to. And it possibly took me a little bit to open up. I tend to be shy and closed off around people that I don't know, but it was just such an amazing, accepting atmosphere and environment and energy. So I would just say, if you can go into that space as emotionally open as possible, you're going to get the most out of it. So the first thing that we got when we sat down was a little binder. I shouldn't say little, it's a big binder, and it contains our birth doula workshop schedule for the 2 days. I went on a weekend, so it was a Saturday and a Sunday. We also got a little packet of some really great resources that we can utilize for our future clients, as well as the DONA International Birth Doula Workshop Manual, which everyone who is getting DONA certified will receive. So it's just packed with information that I have labeled because it's that useful that I'm going to be going back to it 1,000,001 times. So one of the first things that we talked about was just what is labor support, what is a doula, what does it mean to you, how do you explain what a doula is to curious family members and curious friends. So we kind of went around the room and did that. The other really amazing thing that we were told to prepare for the workshop was to interview the oldest woman that we know about her memories of her first birth experience. So I had asked my 85-year-old grandmother about her birth experience, and my mind was blown. So I would say, if anybody has that assignment, even if you don't, I think that would be something really cool to share with the class. After our introductions and after the intro to labor support, we gathered around and just shared some of our interviews and shared highlights amongst the class. So one of the great things about DONA, and really what they're very well known for, is their code of ethics and their standards of practice. So we spent a good chunk of time going through that, making sure that we understood each piece of the code of ethics and the standards of practice. We went through a lot of questions, any confusions, any clarifications that anybody had on the certification process that first day. So I got a lot of really great answers out of that as well, because it can be really daunting to just do initial research and not hear, and not get clarification, I should say, on some of the specifics that are required for certification. So the rest of the day was just kind of blocked out into separate sections about prenatal contact, how to market yourself, how to reach out to potential clients, the business side of things, how to be an emotional support in labor, and then we began comfort measures on the first day. We really drove that notion home that any woman and every woman deserves a birth doula, regardless of, how she plans her birth and how her birth goes. So the second day we had 2 sets of visitors. The first was 2 girls who had graduated from the doula workshop training that past summer. So they just came in and sat while we ate lunch and answered a bunch of our questions and talked about their progress and talked about anything maybe that they found helpful to know or anything that they possibly needed clarification on. So that was really helpful. It was really inspiring seeing some women who had, were maybe only 4 or 5 months into the process and they were still going strong. And then the second person that had come in, a visitor, is a woman who was a counselor, and she specialized in postpartum and pregnancy, depression, anxiety, baby blues, all of that. And I think I mentioned this in my last video, but I just think it's really wonderful that the conversation is starting to open up about mental health surrounding pregnancies and motherhood and all that comes with it. So while I attended my workshop, we were given a lot of really great resources to get started on some of our certifying births. And one of them is this really great volunteer program that caters to Medicaid moms. And you volunteer your doula services, and depending on when they join the program and depending on their circumstances, you might be able to, crunch in some of the prenatal meetings, and for some other births you might not be able to, depending on circumstances. So I have joined that program to volunteer my time. I have a birth coming up March 1st is when the mom's due, and I'm going to be a backup doula. And I'm actually going to be assisting another girl that was in my training with me. So she's going to be using that birth as a certifying birth. And the rules within DONA, within the certification, is that only one doula can use it as certification, but there can be multiple doulas that assist. So I have a meeting with my classmate tomorrow just to talk about some of the specifics and maybe our timeline. So I'm excited to talk about that. I'm completely forgetting to mention the most exciting part of this weekend. So Sunday, which was the last day of the doula workshop, I got a call from my sister who lives 2 time zones away. She called me at about 5:30 my time in the morning to tell me that she is pregnant. So I plan on attending her birth as her doula. She is due, she originally thought she was due in August, turns out she's due in September. So the baby is 7 weeks as of today. So I am extremely excited. It's the first niece or nephew that we have. It's my parents' first grandchild. So we're all thrilled, and it just seems like very divine timing, however you want to phrase it. But so I guess I do have a birth planned. So besides that, it was a little jarring to go back to normal life. As one of the students had put it, she felt like she was still high after the class was done, just full of this really passionate energy and full of these women who were just so clearly made for this work. It's been difficult to be at work when my mind is somewhere else. So I've just been trying to take small steps every day to get to my goal, which is to be a doula with plenty of clients and possibly who offers other services like placenta encapsulation, but I have to take it one day at a time. So one of the first things that I did when I got home from my weekend workshop is I made business cards. And that was one of the pieces of advice from the two ladies who had taken the workshop in June, who came and answered some questions for us, they said just get your name out there, you know, maybe drop off your cards at different, you know, baby clothing stores, or put your name out there for a childbirth education class, maybe introduce yourself and drop off your business cards. So I went on Vistaprint and I got, I think it was 100 for maybe $35. So I just made a really simple business card that has my name and birth doula. And then the other thing that we learned is that the proper verbiage is DONA certifying birth doula, which means that you're in the process of becoming certified. So on the back I have just a little blurb, and this is maybe for moms who don't really know what a birth doula is. So on the back of it, I have my little blurb, and I also have a quote. But my blurb is supporting you emotionally, physically, and spiritually in whichever way you decide to bring your baby earthside. And then the quote that I found is from Ina May Gaskin, and it was too good not to put on this. But her quote is, "There is no other organ quite like the uterus. If men had such an organ, they would brag about it. So should we." So that's just kind of, that sums up my stance on being a birth doula and being a badass mom and being able to bring a baby into this world however you may do it. So, yeah, my next step, tomorrow I'm meeting with my classmate who is going to be the main doula for the March 1st mama who is on the Medicaid program. In the time being, I'm going to try to figure out how to meld my work life around this, around my passion, because I think I'm in the same boat as a lot of other people. I want to do this. I'm very passionate about it, but I still have to make money and attend my job, and I think that you understand going into this that you're not going to be making money right off the bat. You really have to market yourself. You really have to build up a clientele and get your word out there. Get your word out there, get your name out there. So that kind of sums everything up. So thank you for watching, and I will give you guys an update next time.